Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Giorgio, your friendly neighborhood YouTuber, and we're back with Beyond Wrestling, Episode 3. And, for today's episode, I was thinking about talking about my favorite wrestling storylines. I feel like this is a topic that we don't see too many people talk about, or we don't see too many people touch on as much. I know WWE does little polls about favorite wrestling factions and stuff like that, and maybe we could do something like that in another episode. But yeah, I figured today we could talk about some of our favorite wrestling storylines that made us really tune in each and every week. Just to see what will happen. For me personally, mine's come from WCW and the WWF. Well, of course, they call it the WWE, but back when I was younger, they would call it the WWF. And so for me, I'm gonna start with WCW. There's not many there because if you look at WCW, they had the NWO pretty much doing everything. I like those initial first 2 years of the NWO, where they had to build up to Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan. They was just taking out the whole roster. Or I remember one time where they threw Rey Mysterio into one of them little trailers in the back. I thought that was the craziest thing ever. That's when they really just started to jump off. And I like that when the NWO, they had their own little talk show on Nitro. They would take over the announcer's desk and they do their own personal commentary, and they be trashing the wrestlers that they don't like. That was some good stuff. Also, I like when Diamond Dallas Page teamed up with Karl Malone, and I think Hogan, he had Dennis Rodman and everything. That was a super hot storyline within wrestling back in 1998. That was so huge because, for one, you didn't really see too many pro athletes like from the NBA or even basketball show up in wrestling. So, and I think because Ted Turner, he owned pretty much all the cable networks, and WCW used to come on TNT, which where the NBA games would come on during the week, and seeing Dennis Rodman on there, that was crazy, And I even heard one story that he has skipped practice with the Chicago Bulls just to come on on WCW Nitro to film the angles with Hulk Hogan and Diamond Dallas Page. And you know what? When they had that tag team match, I forgot what pay-per-view that was. I know it had to been I think it was either Hall Wild or something like that. But no, I think it was Spring Stampede. It was one of those pay-per-views. But Dennis Rodman could work. He could do what he was needed to do. And those matches were not boring. They didn't hurt anybody. It was just really well done. And I also saw maybe I think a couple of months ago on the WWE Network. I know that's a shameless plug. Well. It was on like the 1996 Nitro. It was one of those. I saw Charles Barkley on there with Ric Flair. I was like, man, that was so cool. And I don't even know if they did anything really with that. I think he was just appearing on there to get the ratings to go through the roof. Which, really, they didn't need any NBA stars to get their ratings up. But it was cool to see them on there. Let's see, and there's another really cool WCW storyline. I know a lot of y'all that grew up during the 90s and watching wrestling. You probably know like Sting, the whole Crow Sting storyline. I love the build up to that. Of course he ended up facing Hogan at Starrcade 1997, which that match could have been a lot better. I don't know. back then wrestlers had a lot of creative control and of what happens, during their matches. And I feel like if they didn't have that, I feel like that match would have been a whole lot better. But the build up, which was almost 2 years of build up, or at least a full year build up to that whole match with Sting and Hogan. And I used to love when Sting would come through the Raptors and beat the hell out of people with the bat. And at first it seemed like he was siding with the NWO, but he wasn't. And they really just teased and milked that storyline for what it was, and I enjoyed every second of it. Sting would come in there and no one would mess with him because he had that bat, and he was just very intimidating and everything. It was a much needed change for his character. And of course the whole Goldberg streak, that was neat, man. To watch him coming in there each and every week and destroying people, that was just crazy. And yeah, his matches were short, but sometimes a match doesn't have to be long in order for it to be really good either. And Goldberg just had the intensity, and when he hit that spear, the crowd erupted. The spear wasn't even a finishing move. It was just like a precursor to an epic ending for his matches where he'll hit that jackhammer. And that jackhammer is still one of the most impressive moves I've ever seen in my life because of the power. And Goldberg never hurt anyone with that jackhammer. That was beautiful. And I used to love just seeing Goldberg come out there. And that streak storyline is one of my favorites. I kind of hate that, when he lost to Kevin Nash, they had Scott Hall to use the taser to pretty much take him out or whatever. I feel like they didn't need that because, Kevin Nash, he could beat Goldberg by himself. So I don't understand why they didn't do, of course, back then NWO interfered with every single big match that there was pretty much. There was a couple of few good matches that the NWO really didn't interfere, and they had somewhat clean finish. But I feel like a lot of these great storylines that I'm telling you about from WCW, they would have been a lot more epic if they didn't have so many NWO interferences in them. So right now we're going to move on to the WWE, or the WWF is what I was, that to me that was when it was really fun to watch, and let's see, we got, of course, like I told y'all in the first episode, my first time seeing wrestling was the whole Undertaker and Shawn Michaels original feud, which started, I believe that feud started in early 97. And it started right, I think when Undertaker, he had fought Bret Hart for the WWF Championship, and Shawn Michaels was gonna hit Bret Hart with the steel chair, but he ended up hitting the Undertaker, which started this epic feud that went on forever. It went out throughout the end of 1996, leading to 97. And each time Undertaker had a match, Shawn Michaels would come out there and beat the hell out of him with a steel chair and bust him open. Man, you could tell that Shawn Michaels was gonna get his. And they had that epic match at the In Your House Ground Zero pay-per-view, which I would recommend that you all go and watch that match, because that was the first time we saw the Undertaker do the outside dive, which for a guy of his height, he was 6'10", almost 300 pounds, or was 300 pounds, and the fact that he was able to do that, dive outside the ring onto all those people and take them all out, and then come after Shawn Michaels again, and that was sick, that was so cool. And, those are some of the moments that I really enjoyed. Of course, you have the Austin and McMahon feud. We all love that. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys that, at least watched wrestling a little bit back then, you know about that feud. That was one of the reasons we tuned in to Raw, was to see what Stone Cold was going to do to Vince McMahon, or Gerald Briscoe them or Mick Foley or whoever it was. Stone Cold will always raise hell that way. And wow. And if you missed Raw back then, or if you missed WCW Nitro, you felt bad about it. It really made you feel crappy because something crazy was gonna happen on those shows, and if you missed it, you would have to wait a whole week to see what happened. Or if you had friends at school the next day, like I did, we would chat and then they'll catch you up on everything. But the Austin McMahon feud, I like the let's see. I like Austin and Triple H. They had some really great matchups as well, like the 3 Stages of Hell. Triple H and The Rock. Which, you know what, the thing is, I think we all should revisit that on the network, or you can look those matches up on YouTube. They had some really great matches from what I heard. Let's see, and of course, the D-Generation X whole storyline, that was some edgy TV right there. And one of my favorite memories of the original D-Generation X was when Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Chyna was playing, strip poker in the middle of the ring. And that was so crazy because you never saw that on a wrestling TV show where they're playing poker and then whoever loses they have to strip down to their underwear and shit. And then they was drinking Jack Daniels and smoking cigars in the middle of the ring. You never saw that before. And so, man, that was the craziest shit ever, man. It was funny, though. And I'm not saying we should have more moments like that, but we should have more entertaining storylines and stuff like that. Because that stuff was so cool to watch. And then, we had the Ruthless Aggression era. We saw John Cena rise up and everything, which was really cool. And Edge and all of them. With his rated R superstar gimmick, that was some good stuff. And of course, The Rock, man, he was so entertaining with all the little catch lines that he had, the catchphrases and stuff. And he could go out there and talk with anyone, and he always had. I think one of my favorite Rock storylines was the feud that he had with Mick Foley and the I Quit match. That was so brutal. And then, of course, that leads to them having a Rock and Sock connection. Such great TV right there. It doesn't get any better than that, And those are just a few of the great storylines. There's a bunch more. That they had back then that were really great. And the thing is, nowadays, they have good storylines, but the thing is, they mess them up somehow. I don't want to just take a complete shot at WWE like that, but they have great characters nowadays. They have really good athletes, and yet somehow they find a way to mess things up. One of my favorite storylines currently in the WWE right now is the Becky Lynch storyline that she's got going on, where she's somewhat of a heel, and I like that, man. You have to be really stupid to mess up a storyline like what she has. She's really good. You guys should definitely look up to see what's going on with her. A lot of the stuff in NXT as well, and of course New Japan with the Cody Rhodes winning the IWGP United States title. He won the NWA title. He's definitely someone you want to keep an eye on as well. So I didn't want this to be super long, but hey, I want to share with you guys my favorite wrestling storylines, and let me know what you think of this in the comment section below. Share with me some of your favorite wrestling storylines, and we'll gladly discuss them there. And be on the lookout for the next episode. I was thinking about doing these 2 times a week, but I might end up just doing them 1 time a week, but we'll see how it goes. But until the next time, you all be safe, take good care of yourselves, go do something nice for yourself if you can, and have a blessed day. Peace out.